The fecal matter hits the fan in this week's episode of One Piece as Luffy continues to kick Doflamingo's pink ass all the way across the Dressrosa Kingdom. Let's be honest, guys, the most badass character from this week's episode was that old grandma who runs like Sonic the Hedgehog on speed. Things to take away from this week's episode of One Piece. 1. Dressrosa Kingdom has the worst luck in the world. It's like Tokyo in a Godzilla movie. 2. The outside of the factory is covered in sea prism stone, which means that Doflamingo's birdcage can't cut it. This is probably going to be the answer to stopping the massive birdcage of death. And 3. Doflamingo reveals that Devil Fruit powers have a special awakening ability. Basically, this is Super Saiyan, this is Bankai, this is Kyuubi Chakra Mode, whatever you want to call it, it's the next power-up in the series. While there wasn't a lot of Luffy versus Doflamingo in this episode, I still enjoyed everything that I saw. First and foremost, again, I just want to reiterate, I love the look of Gear 4th. It's absolutely hilarious and badass all at the same time, and I still love the fact that Luffy can effectively fly now. Something about that is really interesting to me, but then there's Doflamingo, who reveals his awakening abilities, where basically whatever he touches will turn to string, and he has complete control over all of that, which means just getting close to him is going to be a real chore, and Luffy has a real tough time of doing this. Basically, what's going on here is Doflamingo has been using his brain. It's kind of hard to read the character because he wears sunglasses, but this has all been a big part of his plan because basically he's waiting for Luffy to run out of power, run out of juice, so that then he can take over the battle and finish him off. Because, of course, like all powered-up forms in an anime, it has a time limit. And so does the Dressrosa Kingdom. The biggest thing about this episode is that they show you all of these different random citizens in the Dressrosa Kingdom who are basically just giving up against the birdcage, or there's nothing they can do to stop the impending doom. And they focus on a couple of these people at a time. There's this mother who's looking for a child who's wearing a Kuma shirt. That's Bartholomew Kuma. Yeah, it actually is on his shirt, by the way. There's this guy on crutches who just can't run anymore. This young girl and her grandmother who, frankly, just doesn't have the strength to run. And you have this one guy who's covered in rubble and his friends decide to leave him. It's super depressing and it makes you feel like crap when suddenly there's this great scene where King Riku gets on the snail phone and talks to the entire Dressrosa Kingdom and just begs and pleads with all of them to stay alive as long as they can. And that's where everything turns around for the people. The grandma starts sprinting like crazy. People help out the guy with crutches. The guy who ran away from his friend brings back some extra people so they can lift the rubble off of them. They help out the people at the hospital. It just makes you feel good, but the tension is definitely amplified. This is like those final 5 minutes before Planet Namek exploded. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? This was a satisfying episode, but of course, like a lot of folks, I just want more Luffy versus Doflamingo. And to be fair, this is exactly how it went down in the manga version. They really are trying to focus on the tension of the birdcage destroying everything, and I think they did a pretty good job of it in this episode. I love the fact that you have Zoro, who's going to be teaming up with Kinemon and Kanjuro. That scene where they're riding on the Sparrow is just so ridiculous, and it's just going to have you laugh, mostly from the sound effect of the Sparrow, which I thought was pretty damn funny. Just about every major character from the Dressrosa arc also makes an appearance in this episode, mostly during the big King Riku speech, which I felt, aside from the action, was probably the strongest parts of the episode. We even get to see the return of the musclified laughing factory that is Jesus Burgess, and he still looks like he wants to just crack Luffy's skull. And then there's Doflamingo versus Luffy. Doflamingo, right here, really played this battle smart, just waiting for Luffy to basically run out of power so he can take over. And his whole awakening with Devil Fruit powers is something that's going to send a ripple through the series and is going to change everything. Which basically means anyone who has a Devil Fruit power, who had like a default ability, is now going to have something a little special to add on to that. It's sort of a cheap way to add some more variety to the series, but you know what? I don't care. As long as it looks awesome and it's really fun, then I am all game for all that stuff. On the technical side of things, this was an okay looking episode. Animation, artwork, it was pretty clean and consistent throughout, but again, this is a long running weekly anime series. You gotta take what you can get, but still, I liked it a lot, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do in the next episode, where it looks like the action is going to be amplified a little bit more and that's pretty freaking awesome. So, I liked this episode right here. Not what I wanted, but I still enjoyed it, and something that I think all One Piece fans should definitely check out. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4, that's right, a 4 out of 5. Make sure to check it out, whether you've been watching the anime or reading the manga. But if you guys watched this week's episode of One Piece, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? What do you think of the battle between Luffy and Doflamingo? And what type of awakened devil fruit powers do you want to see in the series? Make sure to tell me in the comments section below. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for watching my review. If you would like to, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And thank you guys again for watching. And as always, stay dandy, baby.